Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Reservation Commission Community Board One, Manhattan. It's April 10th, 2025. We have one project, Governor's Island, 19 Nolan Park. And the presenters are here. So please go ahead.
Great, thank you. I'll let you try.
Sure.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Vicky.
Hello.
My name is Hildy Zhao. I'm an architect. I'm senior project manager for the Trust for Governor's Island. So I'm here representing the trust. And we also with us, Andrew Miller and Carolina Vargas from the architect's office, Jacqueline Garner Architects. And Jacqueline Garner Architects, JGA. And so we'll go through the presentation and have a chance to kind of show you what we have in mind. And Andrew and I will kind of be, taking turns presenting. He's gonna do the brunt of the building-specific design strategies, and I'm just here to provide some context on the larger island context as well as Nolan Park. So just.
Let's slow down just for 1 minute. No,
Oh.
coming.
Are we expecting more?
Our last architect. So,
there's someone.
and she'll, great. I mean, you can.
No,
Oh,
We can continue. It's just.
No one coming. Miss on the phone.
maybe they're remote.
Yeah, we're not there. Continue. Please.
Okay.
I have to make a change. I have to make an addition to our introduction. I'm Vicki Cameron, I'm the co-chair, and this is Jason Friedman, who's the chair of Wildlife Preservation.
Whatever. Okay, now go, please.
Okay.
Oh, no, you're eating again. No.
It's dinner time, I guess,
I'm not sure if this is working.
Okay, we'll forward it for you.
Okay.
That's how I'll kind of do the
May I
play.
magic?
I want to pay
It's
attention.
working.
It's working? Okay, then let's go.
So
Vicki, can I have a quick?
thank you all for coming here today. And just a little bit of background, Jacqueline Garner was also the architect of the Navy building, 20 Nolan Park, which we also, met with this community board previously. I'm also, the project manager for that one as well. So this is a bit of a continuation of that work. And you want to go to the next slide?
Yeah. Is it working?
So this is a little bit of context here. This shows you the Nolan Park area of the island. Thank you. And 20 is just to the north, which, like I said, we previously worked on. There are basically 13 wood frame houses in total in that area of the island, all painted the same color of yellow. With that being said, they all were built at slightly different times over a series of periods. And so 19 and 20 are the last two added to the Nolan Park area.
So, just to back up a little bit, I'm sure everyone here is probably already aware, but, most of the North Island on Governor's Island is within the Rosanna Historic District. And Nolan Park is, the campus within that historic district. And so what we're showing here are the red is the boundaries of the historic district, and then the blue is, what we consider the Nolan Park campus. And there are about 20 buildings there with different numbers. Most of those are the yellow, wood frame clapper houses. Go ahead.
Yeah, and you can see that there's a really nice image from 1938, looking over the tops of the roofs of those houses into lower Manhattan there. Another important context to be aware of here is the Fort J. There is a National Park Service boundary alignment that is to the north of 20. Thankfully, we're a little further away now with this project 19. These are some other photos from 1938, just to see a little bit of context. 20 is in the foreground, and 19 is the one just behind. You can also see a little bit of 19 from Evans Road there. So that's the western side of the house behind that tree.
And so these houses within Nolan Park were built in the late 1800s. Building 20 was the most recent, and building 19, the original, the initial build was from 1881. And these were built as officers' family dwellings. So they're single or two-family houses throughout. 19 was initially built as a single-family house, and then it was converted to a two-family. So the historic typology are, private and residential, and we'll go into that a little bit on what our proposed design approaches are to kind of shift that into a more public space.
Yeah. We've started from a place with both these projects of trying to be very respectful of the scale and character of both houses, seeing how these are residential, and we are bringing in a slightly different use. This is the Nolan Park Arts Campus Fund. I don't know, do you want to talk a little bit about this?
Yeah, so, for the last decade or so, the trust and along with the work at the Governor's Island Foundation, previously Friends of Governor's Island, as well as like Governor's Island Arts, we kind of built Nolan Park up as a seasonal arts and cultural campus. And which is continuing to happen. We have, a new cohort of arts organizations starting to move in the coming weeks for this coming up high season between like Memorial Day and Labor Day. And so on the left here, just some of the images from past events and organizations that have used these houses seasonal for various public arts programming, artists and residencies, as well as, other workshops and whatnot. And so the intent of this project that ties into the larger Nolan Park campus, which is we see as a continuation of the work that started with Building 20, which was approved by this community board and landmarks a few years back, is to kind of turn what's already been gaining momentum as a seasonal use of these buildings.
Given sorry about that. Right, I interrupted, please.
No, so the intent, the work for Building 19 ties into the larger vision of the Nolan Park campus master plan, which is to turn the buildings already here that are already being used seasonally into permanent year-round use with permanent tenants that are various arts organizations, as opposed to a more seasonal, we have a good mix, and then a lot of them are recurring organizations. And so the challenges we've been facing are just that because these houses were uninhabited for such a long time, when the Coast Guard left in the mid-90s, they need a lot more work than just some interior touch-ups. So all the utilities need to be reconnected.
Let's just stop for 1 second here and just say hello to our other committee member.
Sorry.
And I want to say something, and I don't want it to come off as, I don't know, rude in any way, but I see a very, very careful and thoughtful presentation, facade by facade here, and I see 11 points on each thing. What I want to know at some point soon is what is on the table for the commission that's reviewing this building, because I'm sure they're not reviewing every single
Right.
crevice of this.
No.
Keep going,
Okay.
think about that, because I see the thoroughness here, and I'm worried about just the length of how detailed you're gonna get, and that we're not really here to actually see that level of detail. That's
Okay,
my
great,
concern.
great.
Okay,
I appreciate it. Thank you.
But keep going, and let's go another half hour or
We're
so.
about to zoom in.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
So
good.
you'll get all
Good.
minutes.
Okay,
Well, you are proposal for
But
just
what-
building
yeah.
renovation.
everything about it, that's on the table, you'll present that to the commission,
Yes.
everything you're doing.
Yes, yeah,
Great,
yeah,
thank
and
you.
so this ties into the larger campus, but we can skip it, so.
Is this gonna be the model for future buildings too?
Yes,
Okay, great, thank you.
yeah, so it's a continuation of what's been completing, in building
As
20.
you keep going around this campus.
Yes, yeah,
Terrific.
and then this is the next one.
Thank
And then
you.
we would have to see, they will come before us each time on each building, is that right?
You
Yes.
think? This is not a master plan,
So
right?
it's not a master plan, we have a approved master plan for just the windows, which we'll be buying here,
Right, great,
but not for the whole campus.
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for the interrupt allowing.
No, I appreciate that directly.
This is not advancing if you go to the next slide.
You don't even send that to us about,
I'm sorry?
you have to have this to a client, or you just.
We have them in the works. Some of the seasonal
Go
ones
ahead,
have
sir.
expressed interest in running out year-round ones, so we have a short list of tenants, but we don't
Oh,
have
there you
anyone confirmed yet. There, all of them are ones that have season for living on island. there's a short list that our real estate team has been, working with.
But like, what is it there? What
I
is it
know-
over on the inside?
Well, that will be determined by them, but, I know, that all of the ones that have expressed interest are ones that have, like, been in Nolan Park seasonally. So it's,
Artists and residents, right? Is it-
it's artists and residents, it's also like, not just for the artists, but for like the organizations themselves, so like office space, meeting rooms, conference rooms, as well as gallery spaces, so it's kind of.
The upper floor is usually our office,
Yeah, I remember
space.
one.
And then
Everything
first
was
floor,
very-
yeah,
Yeah.
usually
Yeah.
more public facing space.
Right.
Yeah, so the ground floor would be more public facing, the
And
upper
that's
level
why
would be like
it's every year.
offices.
Sorry?
They
Administrative
apply for this every year.
spaces, meeting rooms.
I'm not sure.
They apply for this every year, right?
Now, yes, because it's seasonal. But the intention, again, is to make it permanent, so that we would offer long-term leases,
Mhm.
instead of,
At a subsidized or
oh,
preferential.
very subsidized, yes. It's basically free.
Right.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Okay, back to the beauty of the
Yes.
architecture.
So this,
so,
this is, you wanna go?
So this is just to show what's being completed in building 20, we can,
It's
skip
gorgeous.
right ahead.
Can
Yes.
anybody say it's not gorgeous?
It's
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 amazing.
beautiful, we're like, intentionally trying to get it
We
sustainable.
didn't turn it into plastic or anything, that's
No.
all wood.
So
and-
this is, yep, so
It took a lot of effort to
bet.
stop some things from turning to plastic.
Yeah, I
Yes,
bet.
but we tried very much to work with, non-rot resistant woods,
Mhm.
tried to really, the windows were restored.
Mhm.
You could see that we wanted to open up that first floor space, and what you see that those studs there was those have turned structural over time because the house has been altered. And I don't want to get into too much detail there, but we wanted to at least, we opened it up as much as we could and we left those studs there to honor that history.
It's like a screen.
Oh.
So keep it, it's fabulous.
Right.
yeah, so it will
That's
be.
very cool that you did that.
Yeah.
Very lovely.
The two tenants that would be moving in the building nursery project who have been on that.
Right, we got that.
And then NYU Gallison's wet lab, who really over the other unit, who have also had some program.
I don't know if you have a photo of it, but an important thing too to be aware of is that porch is not original. We restored all of that. So there was a 1950s vestibule added to that front area of the porch where that stair goes up now. So we removed that and we basically from a photo from the 1930s brought back the porch to the original design.
And you integrated that ramp so beautifully.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
assuming it's the ADA, right?
Yes, that's the,
Well,
yeah, that's right.
Bravo.
Bravo.
So, a quick snapshot of what the existing condition of build 19, it's been closed to the public for the last couple of years. So it's been sealed off and you can see it's just too deteriorated. And, this is kind of what it looks like now.
Yeah, you see the top with ceiling. There's some really lovely rooms that were additions, which if you go to. We can jump back to the design strategies, but you can see here the sections of the building that have been added over time. So there's some very nice details in terms of those octagonal rooms. There's a stained glass window as well. You can see in that one photo. So a lot of really interesting stuff that is in a state that, that we're trying as much as we can to reuse in the new design. These are some of our overarching goals with the design strategy, basically rehabilitating the structure because a lot of the building systems are defunct. Also providing better public access that includes accessibility, providing accessible, bathroom, and all that. Better integrated, buildings in the landscape and also considering that with the master planning strategy of having two fronts for these buildings.
The overarching design principle is to turn these from like a private typology of residential houses into these public places. And the guiding principles for both 19 and the master plan, it's directly towards that goal. And so we're looking to, instead of having a front and a back, to kind of have, just to be like all four sides be free as public as much as possible.
And that's the idea behind the Janus statue as well, is to,
This statue.
yes.
I was curious, like, if they find it in the.
I thought of Janus, he said, like the Janus phone.
Yes.
I don't know what his strength is, but
So the river gods as well.
Yeah, yeah,
This is just meant to illustrate that like double frontage.
Very
instead
white
of a-
lotus, okay.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So, illustrating the idea that we're trying, one of our main goals of this project is also, and something that through the master plans, we had a lot of discussions about how to, make the house, open up to the Fort J, to the parade ground behind at, Evans Road. Because traditionally, the house has been approached from the Nolan Park Common. And we want to make sure that this house is something that can be, equally address that other side. These four,
So I think we can, I'm just gonna speed this up a little.
Yeah, you
Uh,
can-
So Jason has done a lot of research into the changes over time.
I saw that.
The
It's
plan, the
amazing.
conditions, so I mean, the next few slides kind of show you that.
Are you gonna be leaning on all that to propose what you're doing? Are there any extreme deviations from an original fabric?
We're leaning on that to say that we're preserving the core plan from the initial bill, and so we're proposing some demolition work and opening up the back a bit more.
Mhm.
And I think, that's all summarized on slide 13, which shows like the changes in the floor plan over time. And then we have we can breeze through the next few slides, which just shows the existing conditions. So we have the elevational photos and then calling out, the deterioration along, and it's not in great shape. It's the,
and part of
It's a
the
quick
context is just to illustrate that some of the stuff may look historical, but stuff like where the current porch was built in the nineties. And
Give
so,
us that on the plan, tell me about that. So I can-
Where-
I mean, it says 1980 on this plan I'm looking at, but,
So-
is that what you mean?
that, this slide here was basically, a lot of stuff to illustrate that fact that there was originally a scroll balustrade railing there. And basically they tried to replicate that, but they went quite more ornate, in the
Oh, more
nineteen
like a
nineties
gingerbread
than,
kind of thing. Yeah.
exactly.
Gotcha,
Was
okay,
original.
New Orleans or Key West kind of style, okay, so that's not what was there.
Right,
So
so
it wasn't that, fanciful.
Exactly, it was a little more Spartan, a little more reserved. And you can see as well, this is the current state, so, the porch in this photo got screening up because it's not accessible. But, and this existing condition out time you can dig into it, basically, it's a deep analysis we did of what the state is of everything in the building. This is the back, with these two one-story additions, that are not original. There are some in the older plans, but these are rebuilt, and they're wider. And there's also that garage.
Is this where you're sort of proposing some new program where those two extensions, I see the garage is going away.
yes.
Yes.
Two
Two
best-
things are going away and being revisited, right? Is something else slightly narrower and you're filling in the center?
We're taking off those extensions entirely.
Yeah, and then this is being.
Excellent.
Yes, and then we're putting in a rear deck in place of,
Fantastic. You can enjoy the outside.
So that- so we can have a dialogue with the parade.
They were not part of it anyway.
It not be as the back of the house, and be as the other entrance.
So yes, this is the existing site plan and then the proposed site plan, and so there's a large deck at the back. They also have new entrances at the back. We wanted to basically make sure, they remove the back door and open that up to the street more. And have that be a place that makes a better interaction with that west facade. There is an accessible ramp on that west facade that's integrated into that deck. We have an axon that shows that. And we also have a ramp that goes to the front of the traditional front of the house towards the, common green.
So, unlike at 20, but it was only putting one ADA ramp in the back because the elevational change is a bit less severe than at 20. We're able to integrate like equitable access from both sides, and have the ramps be tied into the front porch or the rear deck that we're proposing.
So I figured I'd stop here because this basically shows the entire, all the views of the outside and then that deck as well at the back, there is some sea stuff that was removed from a seawall that they have a covering on, and we're gonna use that found
This
stone, yeah, to build up to it, so the deck also feels a bit more part of the landscape. And basically helps us deal with about a 30-inch, it goes up and down a bit, but around 30-inch difference in height. It's a bit more of a height difference, so here it's going down a little bit. And that helps us in terms of the ramp's size and length.
So we're able to have more streamlined looking ramp, we were able to avoid sort of backs or, both ramps.
If I could just say, I love it, because you've turned it now from sort of a private, single window two-family house to a pavilion, a public pavilion. It's accessible now, 360. Not days, but 360 views as well. It's terrific, right? With these simple moves, I'm surprised how you managed to change the program. If you managed to get the architecture to match the new program.
Yeah, we've done some, basically, we're using a lot of those common rooms in the first floor as, public facing rooms. Some of that will be up to the tenant to decide how they use it. We're kind of leaving it a bit open-ended for them to use because each organization has different needs, as we're finding out with 20. And,
Why two ramps?
we wanted to provide equitable access from the east and the west, and it's, ties into the idea too of trying to activate both sides of this building.
That ramp looks like, what is it made out of? Like metal? Did I miss that? It looks almost temporary, like if we got rid of ramps for some reason and we're doing something better, it would be able to be attached or something.
Well, we would do that, this would be the same material as the ramp on 20. Both,
Recovered, right?
So,
we basically, both buildings have, were built at different times, they have a different vernacular. This one is a lot less ornate than 20 was, so we made the ramp also respond to that vernacular and character of the building. So this would be, basically powder coated white steel, and they would be a metal grating, that would be the walking surface. And we picked this because it allows a lot more transparency and not a lot of barriers from where we are to the building. We wanted to make sure visually it was as transparent as possible.
They look so new.
the idea is for it to kind of, like it's has been there and to be not to be as least visually
No,
destructive
that
as
hasn't
possible.
been there. That was placed there.
Are you required to have the ramp or are you providing it as an additional
Well-
access?
We are required to have at least one ramp because we will be seeking for a certificate of occupancy for the as to commercial suites as opposed to the historic
So
residential.
one of
use.
them is required, but you're providing two.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
And the two is also because we were looking at the larger campus, if you're approaching from, where most people would approach. It's a long way to go around, if we were only to provide one. Initially, we had one was for just the back.
You can afford to.
Right.
People, every 6 months might come, but okay.
But we also thought, it's for when the artists might be loading in for people with strollers, if you have, so it's not just, it's, right.
It seems like overkill to me personally. I don't disagree.
We don't disagree, but hey,
And it doesn't look right.
it's their building, they want to have too.
Okay, it also doesn't look right.
Because we like the fact, remember, I even intuitively commented on how I like the fact that you covered these ramps, right?
Mhm.
Right, at the beginning? And here we are now with this exposed pipe that is so temporary looking.
Is there any materials or can we
Yeah.
see a little closer or like what's it made out of?
Gerald, right?
Said it was a metal grating or something on the.
Yes, there would be, like a plank grating, which would be the walking surface,
Mhm.
and there would also be a metal mat, which would basically be the guard. So, and that would also allow you to have as much, like I was saying, transparency. Because we wanted to make sure this ramp didn't obstruct your view of the building from this level.
Well, it definitely doesn't do that.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Can you see through the ramp?
We will, yeah, to a certain degree, yeah. There,
You don't have any. What's that? Look up that.
Yeah.
What's that? Or
Yeah,
the.
I had bigger problems with it on the
Okay.
other side, so let's
Yeah.
just go to the next slide.
go ahead. This, did you go back one slide?
Move.
Frozen again.
May I?
Oh.
Yeah,
What needs
because,
to happen?
yeah, it's not the presentation, it's not even.
That's the question. I didn't see it present here.
Hi, Susan, hope you
Is there-
feel good.
Yes, Susan, are you feeling well? She has trouble unmuting, so no, let's not.
Is there gonna be air conditioning put in?
Yes,
So where's the?
So where are the
where's
units?
hardware?
so that's the, show,
There's a,
That the same?
exactly.
Yeah,
there's the
yeah.
I was gonna
enclosure.
ask what that was, yeah.
It's gonna be louvered with cement board. We've had rooms where, you know, potentially there could be a mural put on there as well.
Is that big gray bump thing?
yes.
That's right.
So we talked about the ramp, right? But what else is there that is of? That's it? I
The
mean,
ugly covering on the, west side?
what about like all these, like, let's say point 11? Point 11 is restoration of original brackets and moldings. That's being done off the original stuff, so there's no,
Yes.
it's not a question of what we,
Maybe we go to the site.
whether we like it or not, right?
And-
You're doing it from the original stuff, and that's that. So non-original proposals would be the ramp, and what else?
It's,
There's
uh,
Covering up thing? No, that's not quite up there.
That elevation, do you
Oh.
know?
And what about this canopy?
yeah. I don't like the way it's hung off the building. It seems sort of like it's clawing at the old lady a little bit. I wonder if it could be supported on, you know, in a more traditional pergola way. The materiality's fine, and, you know, is it Corten or something fine?
Well, we were trying to follow the example of those two one-story additions, so the standing seam.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Maybe it could just have some, sit on the ground a little more traditionally and not.
I see.
Kind of.
More like a
clawing.
warehouse. It's
Yeah,
kind of like a
very
warehouse.
meat packing
Yeah, you
district
see it
sort of.
only in a warehouse.
What is, I'm not following.
That's,
Yeah, I would
Page
think we think
32.
of a different way to make that be.
Got it.
It's like a marquee and they want, yeah. Canopy, that's just
Yeah.
marquees.
I know the marquees,
yeah, I
I've
didn't,
heard
I
of
didn't
them.
like that.
Lucy's now familiar with them from years of working with us. And then this plinth, this is not here, right? This kind of white, kind of,
Yeah, it's the stone, the original.
oh, that's all there, no touch.
Or it-
You're gonna make it look nicer.
But they're, yeah,
It's on
they're-
the eye.
they're bringing it here to recycle and use and
Yeah, that's
celebrate.
cool.
and I think it's nice.
So can I just clarify, William? You're saying that the standing metal seam roof.
Yep.
You're okay with that,
Love
right?
Yeah.
What you're saying is that this, support
The
system,
table system.
well, it looks like, because it's anchoring into the wood part.
Yeah.
Right? It feels like it's tearing at the wood out, right?
It's just,
Uh,
it's not really the right
Language.
language. Yeah, exactly.
What can we do, guys? Can we do something that's more
Did you
appropriate?
do this at 20?
No,
Yes, it's like
we didn't introduce a new,
I almost think a
20
metal
doesn't have-
two-inch hole is
Yeah,
better, right, at each
yeah.
side, it's
Just,
better
just
than
that,
the
I'm
pitching
touching
ground,
ground,
yeah.
like a pergola wood on a Victorian house.
You don't
Right,
Yeah.
me, you know, you can engineer it so that you don't really need
I
a
see,
huge
right.
support. But,
One of the reasons to not have the columns is it limits some of the
Flow.
accessibility and flow at the back there.
Yeah.
you know, you're not gonna have.
You could get rid of the ramp and then you wouldn't have that.
actually, I think that this ramp is, you know.
Is this the one that's required or is it the other one that's required? Or doesn't matter?
It's a matter.
This ramp,
This is not elegant enough for.
right, Stu Leonard's, you know,
Well,
Stu Leonard's, great.
I love,
Fake barn, it's like not really the real deal,
would
but
you be willing to just simplify that, get it, you know, delete the four cables that are, you know, anchored to wood?
it's just, right, it doesn't work, it's like a fake thing, you'd never see that, because you'd never anchor
Well,
anything.
it's very commercial,
Yeah.
but residential.
I have a-
And no matter what the program is inside, this is still a residential meeting.
I've got a question. So the one-story addition on the back that you're sort of modeling that overhang off, of, when are those from?
And those are all.
There
Not
there
original.
was some
Later.
previously built, I think around the 20s, but they were narrower. They didn't align with the two sidewalls. These aligned with the sidewalls, so these were latter, maybe in the
Yeah.
50s. They were
Yeah,
very
fine.
Right, I guess what I'm asking is if we're
Mudroom.
talking about the, I don't know the terms, I'm not the architect here, but in the railings, you're having less ornate
vertical pickets.
Yes, scroll
And
balustrades.
you're having but you're doing that because what was added was in the nineties. Why are we picking and choosing which time periods were okay? Like,
Well, the nineties is not a significant period, so you don't take anything from that. Right? It has to be from a historically significant period.
what I'm saying is, this later.
Well, I think the nineties, its intent was to honor that scale and character of the building, but they kind of went a
Went
little
too
too
far.
far with it. They kind of gussied
I'm
it
not
up.
saying I disagree, I'm just saying, for the consistent argument of,
Yeah.
are we trying to make this original, are we taking, like, why is this period okay to make reference to?
Which period?
We're not restoring it, nor we are.
I guess the argument here is that we were justifying demolition of the detached garage and those two vestibules because it was not original to the initial building footprint. They were added later,
Yeah.
earlier than, the nineties, but it's still.
Separate from opening up the back and putting a cover over the door. It's a totally different.
What is the projection of this cover? I mean.
Oh,
How far does it go out?
You know,
It looks,
I think it's at 10 feet.
Huh?
Yeah.
10.
I guess what I'm getting at is
To
why.
create an outdoor room for programming in the back of the house.
It is 10 feet.
Yeah.
Right, but why that material, like that, I just don't get why,
What material?
The
It's
metal.
matching a metal standing seam from what they found.
I understand that, I'm saying is that
That's your nineties move.
no, what I'm saying is what's there, you said metal standing, is that historically significant?
It's
You know, why
not,
not match the roof?
What's on the roof?
Why not have shingles?
people
What I-
use that as a material in, let's say,
What I'm getting at though is why wouldn't you, if you're gonna build a overhang, why not have it be more in line with the deck that's already there on the other side of the building? Like, why not? Why,
Which has shingles, right?
well, I'm saying it has columns and it has,
the structure of it,
The
the
port.
form of it, the form of it.
and the materials, so, I mean.
No, we don't want to make
Well,
it too,
yeah.
fakey Jamaican, right?
We also are trying to follow the Secretary of Interior standards
Yeah.
as well, that SHPO will dictate to us about there being a difference between.
Yeah. I think it's mostly just a matter of getting the language back, talking to the front porch with 2 to 4 columns on the front and getting rid of the meatpacking district, Stu Leonard look and you're off to the races.
And how's it pink? I'm sorry, just graphics?
So,
Yeah.
so the pink or this color,
Big.
yeah, this color pink is not finalized, but the intention is that as part of the larger master plan move, each of these houses would have a distinct color door for the across the campus. It's like a singular identity. So in 20, it's blue for the new doors. So here, the pink is kind of a provocative move to say that it will be different than what is there and different than what's in 20, and that each of these houses going down will have its own distinct
It's
It
color.
will help a little bit with wayfinding as well.
Just not Pepto-Bismol.
Jared, you should, I don't suppose you have a lot of free time, but the Secretary of Interior Standards is a little booklet that outlines just the answers to your questions. What's appropriate? Do we do this or do we do that when we find materials in disarray or?
Under LPC.
And it's, no, it's not, it has nothing to do with landmarks, it has to do with the state historic preservation. It's much better than landmarks, honestly, because it really tells you the purpose of preservation, not like, well, we think this doesn't look good. So it's good, and anybody should read it. I mean, it's like not
Great.
very long.
It's not long.
Yeah, so
Top of the beginning.
we don't, it seems like we have a mixed bag of people here on this.
Would you think if instead of
I wouldn't
rectangles, we had rosettes or something?
Well, no, it's just it's the commercial versus.
The concept of it
That's the only,
is contradictory, I think. It's like,
it needs to sit on the ground like a house does,
That's AC on the right, that box.
Yes.
Oh, that's the HVAC, yeah.
okay.
What is the metal fencing on the left? And also, do you have gutters that are coming down the facade?
Yes,
yeah.
the gutters are the copper ones that you can see, kind of, adjacent to the first window.
Oh,
Yeah,
meters?
yeah.
Oh, yeah. got it.
We would restore those, keep them in their current locations.
And on that hexagonal like addition where there's a beautiful window, is that you're gonna keep that?
Yes,
Yes.
Metal
so,
window, okay,
Yes.
please.
replacing
Thank you.
And we
also
see
those
it's
units
very,
except for
very
that one.
adamant that we do not touch those, and we
Thank
don't want
you.
to touch them either.
All right.
It's a
Sorry,
nice-
what was the fencing that was on the left?
This antique storage?
That is, will be more the metal mesh fencing. It's basically, it's like a thin metal wire and,
Why do you why?
Oh, so.
oh, there is
go
a
to-
cellar stair that is basically tucked in between that deck and yeah.
The doors.
It acts as a guardrail because it goes, steps going
Yeah,
down, so
like
the
it's
deck is
something-
elevated.
One of our
They work.
requirements that we can work with, by converting to commercial structure, needs fences out of the cellar.
You don't wanna have
So we have to add that to each challenge.
3, 6, 9, 12.
They're new.
Well, so they can be reading like the windows.
Well, I think that
They're the
the,
Secretary of Interior standards. They're-
the idea is not to mimic what's with the,
What is the most beautiful solution?
Oh, well, no, we don't have to deal with beauty around here, do we?
Yes, we do. I'm the book I think we do. Let's get to that.
that's a great.
I have no issue with the door. I only have issue with the commercial aspects of the covering over the two
Jane.
doors.
The
The
canopy.
door has,
Oh, I've got this.
the doors are just a single pane of glass.
Mhm.
What if the door, these doors, mine,
Oh, if they
It's
had
like
some
the
sort,
original door on the front of the house.
I mean, obviously that would help. In.
Is that door original?
that's not the main door.
Pink-
This
the
is,
pink one?
Yeah.
I know, but no,
That would be, we would have to, there's a double door there, but it's too narrow. So
it's
we
like,
could create
that's
a-
what I would do
a
in
new
my
solid wood
to get more
style
light,
door.
but if I
But
was.
this was
doing it for
Victorian in
renovation,
style.
I would add
Yes.
Why? If it's new.
Well, we're trying to keep more of original character on the Nolan Park Green.
but it's.
Okay, people, we got problems. This is not the original door,
Okay,
but they made it look like the old.
well, that I don't mind, but okay, tell me, I mean, off of photographic evidence, off of evidence on the thing, I mean,
Unoriginal double doors are there?
it's a
Can
double
we
door.
go back to the store? So this configuration here.
On
is
that,
like-
well,
So that door, your front door has, is a different read, but it has,
Big pane of glass.
But also the front door entrances are tucked more into, the vestibule than the
Just,
porch.
we
you know.
brought, someone brought up Secretary of Interior standards.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering
Yeah.
why now this door looks ye-olde and these doors don't look ye-olde. You said you wanted those doors to look ye-olde.
we'd like them to be a little more harmonious with the rest of the.
Like the door they proposed for the front. Is that the logic?
Or just either use that language or use the language of the windows, like 6/6.
It would be nice to have some consistency, I agree, I mean,
But this is not a gallery in Soho. We don't need to open everything up.
is that part of
And
the
people
purpose?
go there for the, it just occurs to me that you go there for the historical experience. Like, when you work on something, you sort of get all wrapped up in it, but then here I am looking, going, oh, but I want it to be all like less gallery and kind of like small town historical quaint. I'm gonna bring a picnic and hang out there. I'm just.
it's a modern door, but it does look historically appropriate to the character of the building.
And the green ones and the pink ones have a big pane of glass.
Yes. So the green ones, those side doors are original and we would keep those.
Yeah. Big pane of glass. So the big pane of glass on the back. Now we found some original doors.
Yeah.
They do have one big sheet of glass. Now they do have a panel below.
Right, and I think it's in proportion.
Mm-hmm.
The rear doors are wrong, because they're too low. They're too low. And,
Man, you're gonna froze again.
There we go. So I see panels.
Susan has a question.
Susan, please,
I have a point about the ratio of the,
I just am, I'm tied up in my underwear about all of this. It's a little over the top, but my question is the back doors, the color, which I can't bear, and I don't, then let another, and why you have a green door somewhere and green and why it's pink. And I can't stand the ramp. Those are that's what I want to say. I'm done. But it's like we're getting tied up, but this back business and the pink color and making everything different and unique, it's the wrong color. And don't tell me you're gonna show me a different color, then you should have showed it to me now.
Yeah, no, it is pink. It just may not
May
be.
not be that,
It's Pepto-Bismol, but it's
could
pink.
be a different, I think.
Like you'd see a painted lady, like a pink.
But there are no historical houses that have pink.
Of course they did. In this period, it was very much so. All over the world, they were very painted ladies. That's exactly what they were called.
Not this
I
Pepto-Bismol.
don't
pink.
know specifically, but honestly, the Victorians are pretty gaudy. So, you know,
Well, it's not-
really want to dig in.
Let's not repeat.
We
this.
could probably find.
Based on painted houses?
I know, I remember.
No,
Like
no.
caveman.
But you do some painted houses on the island, of any original pinks or no?
They have a-
Not
Beautiful.
We have one on 20,
Uh-huh.
that was done, but a lot of,
different too.
the colors have changed a lot over time. So it's, you know, it's a real, like, mixed bag as to what is.
And the pink was a graphic, more of a graphic wayfinding sort of symbol for Nolan Park.
I mean, 20
I have
is
no
a
issue
different color.
Pink,
right?
a pink.
Okay, so finally, what is, so like, you are in love with this elevation and you're sticking to it? Or are you saying maybe
We're definitely willing to, you know, work and have a
your
conversation.
future clientele is saying, why are you mixing?
We-
Seat backing with this, so.
We are committed to the design moves, the details for the awning, you know, we're not so,
Yeah.
I mean, you're
Tie
committed
down
to the awning.
we're committed to the
Not committed
awning,
to the
not
whole
necessarily.
thing.
It
It
just
would be
needs to
nice if you found a different,
differently.
yeah, a different one on that, I
How
think.
about a wooden pergola? Oh, my God.
Well, it could be a metal pergola just by bringing 4 posts to the ground, and then it is a pergola, and it could be not traditional or Victorian in any way, it could be just exactly that. Just flip the up bits to the down bits.
No, but if it was a wooden pergola, it would
Well, that's a
replicate
different,
some of the details in,
job.
in the, the fire. Please keep that.
Let's
I
try
said
to, let's try to summarize our thoughts here, right? And then get into some sort of a resolution, is that right?
yeah.
So.
Can you hear me? I don't know.
Yes, Bruce, how are you?
I'm okay every single month for the last 3 years. I have such trouble with WebEx. There's so many codes. I was trying since 605. I got on at 610. Anyway, I'm just agreeing with everything that's been said. My concern, I understand all the remediation necessary. I've seen this building and it's kind of a wreck. I don't know how it fits contextually with all the other buildings around it, but my only concern is taking something like this and making it look institutional. And, you know, you all said it, this facade looks institutional to me. Suddenly someone said it's like a museum or a gallery or a you know.
A welcome center.
Welcome.
Exactly. That's all. I've said my piece.
Oh, yeah, that's unfortunate. A lot of those welcome centers are like, you know, on the highway and stuff, look a little bit like this, but they're trying to make it look homey. I would say the renderings are probably not doing you justice in this way because they're flat. And your whole thing here is you're doing a great restoration to this building, so let's not, let's make sure that
If you look at 20, you could see we kept the original clapboard.
I mean, this is
And
real.
tried very hard to keep as much original and wood material as possible.
A residential owner would not do that. No, nobody.
We have to focus on the things, because Lucy and Lucy and I have to go soon. Okay, so
Please.
so we have the ramp. What do we think about the
We're
ramp?
gonna ask Vera, what do you?
Oh, no, I was
She's
adding,
gonna- yeah.
and adding in, but I wanted to like summarize.
Ramp?
Take it
What do we
all.
think about the ramp? We're gonna take the ramp?
One.
One.
Ramp.
One ramp, okay. What do we think about I mean, obviously garage removal, the canopy, we want it to feel grounded and more like
Residential.
attached.
Less industrial. less-
More residential. Okay, so we'll find a couple of ways of illustrating what we're saying there.
Well, just look around on the front.
And then we have the door in the front. What do we like? We like the door in the front.
Like the door.
Okay, I do too, because it's fine.
Okay.
Slide. This is not the right slide.
Okay, let's go to the door in the front slide. Or is that a good slide? That shows every facade. Okay, door in the front is just obscured by the porch or something, right?
Bottom right.
Yeah, so the doors to the front are up to the side.
But they look great in that way.
You see in the two elevations on the right-hand side there.
So, I'm sorry, there's no way I'm letting go of this. You see this detail here? So you mark these doors, right? Right? Look at this door.
Yeah.
Why can't you at least take that and repeat it here so that the story of the door is consistent?
Or frame it, the way every window is framed. This door doesn't have such a frame.
No,
requirement.
just carry the reading of the door.
Okay, we want you to
Okay.
relook at the rear doors.
Yeah.
I agree
To
with
get
that.
them to be more harmonious with the rest of the building.
If the bottom panel of the new doors was the same size as the panel on the other doors,
A
with or
little
without
higher.
the scallopy bits.
Oh,
nobody-
scallop.
I think the issue is that we don't have consistency between
yeah.
what's going on. Time period, there's no consistency, the interventions doesn't have any consistency.
And it's
Pardon?
Passover.
So I think the interventions don't have consistency among
And we
themselves.
would like it to have consistency.
And I'm also
Doors, windows.
unclear on
Cats,
how
cats, dogs, dogs.
we're restoring it. Is it, are we going back to, there was a chart here with time periods. Where are we saying that, what interiors
Secretary of Interior Standards.
Yeah,
said
they're
that's
mostly doing the
significant?
restoration on the interior that matches the other ones that we saw and approved.
Where-
Number 20, this is number 19.
Yeah, where there's historical material, we would like to restore it. Where there is no historical material, where, we want to be respectful of that scale and character, but we want to make sure that there's a registered difference between
Got
those
it.
new elements so that you don't misunderstand what, kind of like that 1990s example, what had been built later on.
It's like, for me, it's not clear when you reintroduce something, are you reintroducing it to 1990? Because I should do my homework.
No, it's more we'd like to look at the strategy and the intent that they maybe would have taken back in the, this house, a lot of this stuff was built.
Are you leaving?
No,
Early 90s and early 1900s and 1930s. So looking at the intent there and then seeing how you can do that in a proper manner.
Colors, they're not just diagrammatic, they are colors.
Same.
Yes.
Yeah,
wait,
they-
that pink
they-
is more the pink that we're talking about?
No, it will be.
Easter pink, right? That's how you
We,
describe it.
we,
right?
yeah, we haven't finalized,
Yeah.
our color there, but we put this just,
Easter.
mostly to demonstrate the concept that we want to make sure we want every building to have a unique door.
I actually
That
like
can
this.
help with
I know,
The pink rendering, but the scheme up top,
I know,
not bad at all.
I know. I agree.
Because the yellow and the green or the teal and the fuchsia really, sort of bounce each other around.
Yep.
All right, so I think we're going to approve this with a couple of comments.
I agree with that.
We would
Okay.
greatly appreciate-
And,
You agree with that, Susan? We would greatly appreciate if you consider our comments on the rear doors. Asking if the doors can be, of the same typology. And if they're not, for example, as he calls them, the scallops, like, use that just so that we know it's a door, not a third kind of element. You've got windows, you have doors, and now you have these, whatever they are, doors, but they have their own language. And as you can tell, your future customers are all going, man, I don't know about that, commercial, and it's easily remedied, right? So we're going to ask for that, otherwise we approve.
Support, are we doing nothing with the support of the?
We would like to get rid of that.
what?
That should be put in there. So can we call the question with our changes?
We talk about the HVAC?
Susan?
Yes, talk about it.
Is that the best?
Hold on, no, she didn't get seconded.
Oh, we're assuming that after
This one, right?
much
That block.
work, that is the best
Well,
location.
Well,
Yeah.
why are we assuming anything?
Because architects work on these things for months and months and months.
Well, then why are we even here talk about it?
Because it's just, you can talk about it by all means.
Yeah, tell us what you think about it, Jared.
I'm just asking, is that the,
Is that the ideal spot for not blocking the house?
is that the back of house? Right.
Yeah, we don't want to block the primary facade, the big, thing.
We also didn't want to block any windows that were right there, so we
Okay.
pulled it
I'm
back.
sure it's a product.
You couldn't have pulled it 100 yards away? Just tell us you couldn't have, so we know that.
Well, no, because then it would be on the street.
Okay, great.
So you're talking about the atrium?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can only move that so far away operationally from the
Yeah.
units inside.
Yeah.
And it can't go in the cellar.
It can't,
Oh my God, you see
no,
that?
it needs certain air access around it to pull and expel air.
But where is it in relation to the entrance to the house?
It's
Page 24, you see it?
It's in the sort of lower southwest corner. There's also, existing utilities there as well that are being moved. So basically trying to put that towards that zone. That, yeah. It's kind of an unfortunate reality of.
It's like I never, it's.
You know, kind of add some
Like, there's
enclosure
also
to
place
the
to
end of
put it.
the deck.
Put it as a town on top of the building, put it as a little thing on the side. It's always a little bit of a compromise.
It is unfortunately the best location.
No, I understand. I
After
guess,
much study, you're.
like the garage, but somewhere over there. for it.
So we will, we'll take all your comments,
Susan has a comment?
Susan, oh,
What?
call the question.
Oh,
I'll call the question.
Pink second.
Okay. We'll let you tell your story. Okay, so
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Vicky seconded.
Okay, any recusals?
Okay with the way it looks.
Any abstentions?
No.
Any
All-
opposed?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, nope,
Jared's
I'm not
opposed.
and I'm voting in favor.
I'm okay.
What'd you say, Bruce?
I'm voting in favor of the resolution as a
Can't take
public member.
Me too.
You're on camera. I'm good.
I'm off camera? Oh, no, I'm
Not
sorry.
yet.
No, no, we hear you, we see.
Okay,
I'm voting in favor too.
Both Susan and Bruce are in favor.
Yes.
yes,
Thank you, have a great night.
Good night.
good night. I guess
Thank
this
you,
is good night.
bye.
Bye,
Good
everybody.
night. Bye, everybody.
You were gonna say something?
Motion to
oh,
close.
just take all your comments as well, take like.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to, but please do.
Oh, you say yes? Motion to close?
We do that? I never heard us doing that.
Yes, we've done it, but I don't.